making examinations more flexible and integrated into classroom life. We are aware that examination always puts pressure and stress on children. So, there is a flexibility in the examination system. You can judge the children on the basis of its classroom performance, maybe the oral answers that it is giving, maybe the written performance, maybe the activities, projects, and even any other tool that you are introducing. There is a liberty given to use the evaluation system as per the conditions of the students in the sense of their level of understanding, the background in which they are, and that is how they must be evaluated. And so this is an important part that is a base of even CCE. Then nurturing the overriding identity informed by caring concerns within the democracy policy of the country. So democracy should be observed even in every aspect. Even the core elements and the base of democracy should be a part of our education system. So, following these all guiding principles, Maharashtra state has framed its curriculum, and even the efforts are taken to frame the syllabus of history. Now, understanding all this development process of society from ancient to modern is an important objective of the history syllabus. So let us move ahead to the next slide, where we are able to go through the objectives of curriculum and syllabus of Standard 6 History. When we talk about these objectives, it makes a focus that creating the sense of unity and integrity of India among the children. At the same time, it aims at creating the empowerment of the weaker sections in society and even empowerment of women to develop scientific attitude and secularism, socialism, and importantly the conservation of rich heritage of India. So let us go step by step into these objectives to understand them. The very first point that you are able to see talks to you about to develop sense of preservation of historical remains, sources and monuments. Through the study of history, children understand that these historical monuments, these historical remains and the documents are a part and parcel of our life. They are the things which have made us understand our life. And so, to develop them or to preserve them is our firstmost responsibility. That value is inculcated. Then to enable to use modern science and technology to collect historical information. We are aware that all this modern technology, let it be the for excavations, for even knowing the details, all the modern technological equipments are used. So even children understand that the science and technology is not separated part. It is an important part for even understanding history. Then to create the sense of dignity of labor. No work is of lower or higher grade. All are equal level. All are at equal level. There is nobody as a superior or nobody as a lower, because every work has an honor and dignity. These values are inculcated through various incidences that are given to us in textbook. In few more sessions, you are able to understand all these things in detail. I'm just giving you a background for this. Once the discussions are held here, you will get to know these points. Then to nurture various artistic abilities. When we see the monuments, when we see the artistic or various facts, then you understand these artistic developments and the respect for them. And to nurture curiosity, creativity, and aesthetic sense. Every time when we read history, there is a curiosity in our mind to know more and more, to understand, oh, what is there more about our past, how the things were. And that curiosity leads to know more and even to understand the things. And that leads to investigate, bring the inferences, and to deal with the things as and more frequently. Then the next point deals with historiography is a scientific concept to develop sense, to put forward objective and unbiased history. Historiography is not something that what we found immediately somebody's opinion is recorded. It is judged, it is evaluated, because after all it is a branch of science. It is a part of scientific concept. And so it deals with all those aspects, causes, effects, there is a relation. And that has been put for developing the unbiased history. Then to create the sense that today's events in daily life are going to be the part of the tomorrow's history. And so when they learn about the past, they know that it was somebody's life, it was our ancestors' past, or that time it was their present. And so even what life we are living today is also going to be the part of tomorrow's past. And so that sense develops understanding of past. Even they also understand that history relies on sources and its importance to interpret various resources. That's why various artifacts are given. The reference books are there mentioned, and various details are being given to us through our textbook. Then moving ahead to the next slide, we are able to get a picture in detail about the objectives of curriculum and syllabus of Standard 6 Civics. When we talk about this, efforts are taken to correlate the study of civics subject with the day-to-day life of students. Curriculum of Standard 6 includes social regulations in rural and urban areas, talukas and district level. Major achievements of civics include to develop attitude to obey democratic principles, values, to create awareness about the principles, and to even follow and practice democracy in day-to-day life, and to even understand the Indian Constitution, Indian government system, and to be a responsible citizen of India. So let us go through the objectives of Standard 6 History Curriculum and Syllabus. To develop attitude to follow values of democracy. That is, when the children are going through the syllabus of civics, the aim is to make them aware about the values of democracy. They must understand that on what values our democracy is based. The equality, fraternity, brotherhood, all these things have to be inculcated and they are introduced to them. Respect, tolerance, that is being taught. To create sense for responsible and active citizenship. Always it has been found that politics is considered to be no more a part of the common people. They ignore. They want to keep themselves away from this stream. But through this, we are trying to make children understand that what is in the part of the political things, what is the base, how the decisions are taken. And so there are the practical demos given. Children are asked to take the decisions. Decision making has been taught to them. To facilitate and understand broad nature of political system. That means there are the various parts in our civics textbook where you will come across the things where the children are asked to form the group. They have to observe, they have to take decisions, they have to understand how the Gram Sabhas are, how the decisions are taken, and same way how the decisions may be taken at the Jilla level, at the state level, or at the same time at the national level. And to help the student to understand process of interdependence of man, society and environment. We cannot separate all this from each other. They are inseparable parts. And so even children are taught how they are interrelated, how they are the part of each other. Nobody can be separated. And so these values we learn through the part of the civics. Then to nurture values like patience, tolerance, equality and cooperation. Our democratic system is based on all these principles. It doesn't mean that if you don't like the opinions of others, we will simply oppose it. We should have the respect and tolerance to accept the opinions of others. And that value is generated through the civics and its study. We even respect each other's opinions and even show the tolerance. India has largely exemplified itself through this principle. Then to create the sense of dignity of labor, we have already spoken about it when we had discussed about history. And then to create awareness for disaster management. The children have to understand that if there is something happening, how to handle it. If there are the incidences where there are differences or there is something or other calamities, how to cope up, how to handle the situations. All these values are inculcated through the study. Then, moving ahead to the next slide, you are able to get one heading that talks to you about constructivism. And in the introductory part only I told you that we will be discussing about constructivism towards the end of this session. So now, when we talk about constructivism, the very first thing I want to talk to you teachers that it is not something that we are coming across. This was a part and parcel of our curriculum always, but it was not largely focused or talked about. But here we are largely now focusing on constructivism. So when we talk about this constructivism, it believes this constructivism was largely focused in National Curriculum Framework 2005, and it believed that the child has inborn knowledge within it. It is not just an empty vessel where you will keep on filling up the knowledge and the things. It has some concepts into it. It knows certain things. And understanding its knowledge, the further knowledge should be built up. And it was always being followed that before a child may understand a particular concept, particular thing, the knowledge was piled up onto him. And so he couldn't link, he couldn't associate its new learning with the previous. So now it believes that it should be always correlated. Whatever is the previous knowledge of the child should be associated with its new learning, and then based on that its further learning will be gained. And it also believes that it should be taught with the playway methods. Let the child bring the inferences, let the child allow the child to observe, give it the flexibility in even the arrangements of the classrooms, even the flexibility is there in evaluating them. Let the child observe. Let them come back with the various outcomes, results, and inferences. But remember, no answer is at all a wrong answer. We must accept each and every response that is given by the students and these children rather. So, respecting their responses is an important aspect, because if they have brought this conclusion, there must be some reason. And then when they have the peer learning, that is group discussions, then they discuss various opinions, and through that they come up to the conclusion. And that is an important part of this approach. So, our syllabus of Standard 6 is based on this approach. It is a constructivistic approach that has framed the part of our textbook. There are ample opportunities for the children to get into the activities, to get into the group discussions, collect the information, discuss, and bring them to the conclusion to make the learning a better understanding. So, I expect that all these things will be understood by you, and when you are handling this textbook, you will understand and go through these details. Thank you, teachers.
A warm welcome to dear teacher colleagues. I am Mrs. Varsha Kiran Sarode, Subject Assistant, History and Civics, Textbook Bureau, Balabharati Pune. And with me,
I am Mrs. Shivani Lime, right now working with Ferguson College, member of study group.
main purpose of this discussion is to think about constructive classroom interaction and their execution in classroom, and how to enrich the content, as well as how to relate the knowledge to life experiences. Shivani, we have talked about objectives of curriculum in the previous session, but it is important to see how these objectives are reflected in the textbook.
Yes, indeed, madam. Now, when we say that objectives of curriculum are reflected in the textbook, here we must understand that to achieve the goals given in the curriculum, the important tool that we have is the textbook. Textbook is the tool with the help of which we can achieve various goals in curriculum. So firstly we'll discuss why do we need this textbook. Why do we need textbook? So firstly, to execute uniform program everywhere. Now textbook is designed by taking various principles given in NCF, SCF, RTE into consideration, and even while designing the textbook, various life skills, core elements, values are taken into consideration. Textbooks are very helpful where there are even no basic facilities to the teachers. Now, this textbook is going to be very essential for all the stakeholders, for example, the students, the teachers, and whoever uses it from the community. Now, the textbook is prepared by expert and it is enriched in terms of quality. Now, let us discuss the point that you stated. Now, firstly, we'll start with textbook and the core element. Now, I am not going in detail of all the 13 core elements, but we will discuss a few. Now, the important core element is the content to enrich national identity. Now, in our textbook, in chapter number 2 of civics, we talk about diversity in terms of languages, clothing, food habits. Even after that, we are all together as Indians. There is this string that bonds us together as Indians,
Yes.
and this feeling has bonded our nation. Or even in chapter 11, we talk about Greater India. This creates pride in minds of students that even during ancient times, our country was very developed and our culture was carried even beyond the boundaries of India. So this creates pride in minds.
It's become very rich.
Rich heritage, yes, very true. Now, next thing we'll discuss is textbook and objectives of curriculum of history. Now, there are many objectives, 14 objectives are there. I'm not going to discuss all of those. We'll pick one or two. One of the important objective is to develop the sense for conservation of historical source. We always say that no source, no history. Sources are very important as far as history is concerned. Now, we normally visit many historical places. What we do, we go there and we litter here and there, or we do not intentionally try and conserve the heritage of that place. So, we have given many activities and we have tried to create this attitude of the student towards conservation of historical monuments. Now, there is this one activity. What will you do if you find one coin? Now here, this is open-ended question. The students, they can give many answers that will observe it, whatever the script is written on it, or there are any symbols, or it belongs to which nation, or maybe students say that this is not my coin, so I'll return it to the teacher.
And how coin tells us a history.
Yes, how coins are important as important source of history. So here we will develop this attitude, not intentionally, okay, but through the daily experiences we can develop this attitude. Or there is this one more activity given in our textbook. What will you do in the following situation? During field visit, your friend is writing his name on historical monument. Again, open-ended question. The answers may vary, but here the main aim is to develop the attitude
How to
towards
preserve.
conservation of historical monuments. Now, one of the objectives is to understand various stages in development of our culture. I am sure when we talk about ancient India, we give the different stages that will enable the student to understand the various stages. So this is graph of human progress. Even it is in continuation with standard 5. In standard 5, we talked about the prehistoric age, and in last chapter we talked about how civilizations developed on the banks of river, and from exact same point we start this book in
the
sixth
sixth
standard. So this is in chronological and logical continuation to the 5th standard, and it will provide the information that is necessary to fulfill this objective. Now, next thing is gender equality. We normally talk about it, but I must say that on the cover page of this textbook, there is this one picture of Grama Sabha. We always say that one picture is equivalent to 1,000 words.
Right.
In this picture of Grama Sabha, one lady can be seen who is very active in different processes of Grama Sabha. So here
She is handling many questions.
Yes, here the students can discuss and observe that women are participating in various processes of Grama Sabhas, and they are important part of this decision making process. Now in chapter number 4, there is one activity provided under try this. This is suggested activity where we can easily inculcate gender equality. They suggest that create a committee in your classroom, having equal number of boys and girls. So very easily gender equality can be inculcated. Or we can talk about various life skills, for example disaster management. Now content for Harappan civilization, the sewage disposal, how that system was very nice, and even it is in working condition even today. Or interpersonal skills for that matter, how India had her trading relations with Rome, or how the foreign travelers were very warmly welcomed by the Indians, and how they were very nicely treated by Indians here. Or even the kings, patronage was given, or how they translated, they stayed here in India and translated the material. So here interpersonal skills, so various life skills can be inculcated. Now neatness, when we talk about Harappan civilization, the town planning, what every minute detail was taken
Thinking
into
about hygiene and
hygiene. Yes, very true. So here in short we can say that the textbook is very closely related with various values, core elements and the life skills. Now I was wondering how the content, we keep on saying this, that the content is developed in constructivistic way. What exactly is this constructivistic way?
Yes, Shivani, the textbook is designed in constructive approach. Let us highlight some of the features of this textbook. First is use of easy language, appropriate to age group of students. Unnecessary, burdensome information is avoided. The content is arranged in very easy language. And now let's talk about informative boxes. One of the box named,
When I saw this book, I found it very interesting, having
Yeah.
this extra information apart from the content that is to be studied.
yes, extra informative boxes are given here. One of them is let us discuss. For example, problem faced by the cities.
Yes.
Thus, in rural areas, students can discuss on their local problems.
Yes.
Teachers should consider their local situations and conditions surrounding while arranging this discussion.
So it is not mandatory for the students in rural areas that you talk about the problems in cities. They will not understand it.
Yeah.
So let them talk about the problems in their own areas.
own area. Now the next informative box named always remember this. For example, care to be taken during disaster management. Emergency telephone numbers should be collected by the students and make a list and show it or display it in our classroom. This kind of activities help to relate knowledge with routine life experiences. Next,
So if they need any number of ambulance, or if they need any
Yeah.
number of
Police
police station, that will be handy.
yes, and this is really a good one.
Yes, good exercise.
Next informative box, which is titled Do You Know? For example, participation of women in politics, information about Arthashastra by Kautilya, equality, Nane Ghat, Yuan Shong. These boxes are providing or create interest among students. These boxes are providing supplementary information and they enhance the interest towards the subject.
Yes, true.
The next informative box is try this. It is activity based dramatization of story from Panchatantra. One of the example here I am giving. These kind of activities give students a scope for learning by doing, or we can say it is an activity based learning.
That is what is expected in a constructivistic classroom, that the students are active in this process of learning, they are actively learning. So this is very happy picture
So
to
we
see.
can say that textbook is designed on
Yes, true.
with the help of constructive
Approach. True.
Yeah. The next feature of the textbook is use of pictures to explain the concept. Students always love to see the pictures. It also helps them to learn unknown concepts.
Yes.
For example, Burjapatra and Burjavruksha. It helps to develop the concept that Burjapatra is prepared from a bark of a tree and not by the leaves.
Even for me, this is new because what I initially thought was Burja Patra is patra, right? So it is
So-
prepared from leaf.
Yeah, but here we introduce or given these pictures in the textbook.
So it will help in developing these concepts in history.
Now I move to the next example of a dockyard at Lothal. It is an imaginary picture of Lothal with the help of archaeological remains. This picture gives students an idea about trade with other countries in ancient period. Picture of works done by Zilla Parishad, Dari Currency, Kailash Temple of Verul, copper plates, stone inscriptions, utensils, seals, ornaments, houses, Bodhi Vriksha, sculptures of Ajatashatru, coins, lion capital, Sarnath, revenue collection.
So many such pictures
Yes,
are
yes,
given in
yes.
the textbook.
So
Normally the student find it very interesting to observe the picture instead of reading whatever content is there. It is always they enjoy it observing the
such
pictures.
are used to help students, teachers to enrich their content. In daily routine life, students are not able to see many things like copper plates or stone inscriptions, or they are not able to visit every historical places.
Yes.
Here picture are very useful to them. So pictures are very important role playing here
Yes.
in our textbook. Then next feature of our textbook is maps. For example, in the first chapter, students knows only today's India while learning about ancient period. We need a map of ancient India, so we have given physical map of India in chapter number 1. This map gives an information about ancient India and various cultures developed in different parts.
I think this physical map of ancient India is given for the first time in our
Yes.
textbook.
Yes, yes.
How the vast India was and the geographical expanse of ancient India can be very
And
easily
how
observed.
history and geography relate with
Are
each
very
other,
closely
related.
correlated with each other.
Each other.
True.
And in the second chapter, the map shows sites of Harappan civilization and the modern cities. This map also helps to understand the expansion of Harappan civilization. Overall, seven maps are included in the textbook. The textbook is A4 in size, which makes observation of maps easily.
The book is big, so but naturally the maps are big, and it is interesting on part of students to observe such big
Yes,
maps.
It facilitates the students to learning.
Yes.
One more characteristic of the textbook is charts. For example, sources of ancient Indian history, Mahajanapadas, local governing bodies, income sources of Nagar Parishad, etc. These attractive charts help in constructing more information in less space. This facilitates in logically explaining the subject. They can also able to create many charts on different concepts also.
So the students can create their own charts.
Yes, yes. They will be able to make charts with help of these
Such
charts.
chart.
Such charts.
Yes.
The next important feature is scope to creative ideas through activities and projects. For example, try this. Prepare a list of artifacts in your home that belongs to your grandparents.
May it be utensils or ornaments,
Seals, coins.
whatever that was used during your grandparents' time.
Yes, they can collect them and make a list. Second, collect the information about the old buildings on your surroundings. For example, next example is projects. Organize simulative Grama Sabha and play roles of sarpanch, members, citizens and Grama Sevak, etc. These activities and projects are given is not mandatory. Teacher should give many such projects on the basis of their local surroundings.
So this is the important thing, that more scope is given to creativity of the teachers. Whatever activities and projects are given in the books are not mandatory. Dear colleagues, you can organize